Maharaj.
It's a pleasure.
I haven't seen you for a long time. I'm just realizing how long it's been since I've seen you. It's been too long. But it's with great honor and gratitude I'm able to introduce you today to our class. And I just want to say a little something about His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. Is that he's accomplished so much in Krishna consciousness. And I'm sure today he's going to be sharing with you his new book, which is just a wonderful read for everyone to share and to really understand this terrific battle that Srila Prabhupada had with Mr. N. But Giriraj Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada left, we all felt so much separation, so much grief. And at the beginning, and after some time of grief, there's finally a lightening of that grief. And we've seen, I've seen personally that lightning has been through seeing Srila Prabhupada in different God brothers and God sisters, different qualities that Srila Prabhupada has. And so in Giriraj Maharaj, I see that compassion and that love that Srila Prabhupada emanates so beautifully. So before I just go on, taking up all this time, I'd like to introduce His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So before I begin to speak about the Juhu story, I will sing the Mangalacharana prayers and lead a short kirtan. It's a little... Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vikam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Shiva Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Prajakacharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Prajakacharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Right. So I would like to request the participants on Zoom, as far as possible, to put on your cameras so we can see your moon-like faces. As Her Grace Nagapatni Devi Dasi was introducing tonight's program, I thought of reading two excerpts from the book that deal with very momentous events in the history of the Juhu struggle. But just to give some background, well, it's really background about the story, but it comes in the form of statements about the book. So at one stage, after a long fight or battle with Mr. Nair, who was the owner of the land, Srila Prabhupada was able to get the conveyance of the land signed in his name. Afterwards, he leaned back at his asan and said, "It was a good fight. Someone should write a book about it." And earlier, as early as 1971, Srila Prabhupada had instructed me to write, so that you should take up writing as your first business. And it was an instruction he repeated to me over the years. So although I have many disqualifications, but with the support and encouragement of many friends and devotees, I took up writing about the Juhu story. So His Holiness Radhanath Swami says, "I'll build you a temple transports us into one of the great events of our time." Giriraj Swami gives us personal witness into the life of Srila Prabhupada at a time when Prabhupada faced insurmountable odds at every step. The story reveals Prabhupada's unwavering faith, indomitable courage, and profound humility. "I'll build you a temple" is a contemporary narration that shares the emotions, excitement, and message of sacred texts such as the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita, whose conclusive teachings are revealed through the lives of great souls, such as Srila Prabhupada, who battle and ultimately vanquish powerful enemies against seemingly insurmountable odds. Srila Prabhupada said that his project in Bombay was his heart. And then a quotation from His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada spent more time in Bombay, 554 days, than in any other city in the world. And that indicates the significance of the Juhu project and of this book. I'll build you a temple. Giriraj Maharaj has translated his long years of commendable involvement in the leadership of ISKCON Juhu, as well as his intense desire to serve Srila Prabhupada's instruction to him to write, into a riveting, thoughtful, and inspiring book. I welcome you all to take a dip in the nectarian pastimes of Shri Radha Rasa Bihari in Juhu, which glorify their pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. So the title of the book, I'll Build You a Temple, comes from a promise that Srila Prabhupada made to the deities. Shri Radha a pandal program on the property, which we did. And the deities were transported by taxi from the Akash Ganga building and in Juhu. And they were first worshipped in Juhu during the Pandal program. And then, after the Pandal program was over and Srila Prabhupada left on his travels, I believe to Australia, a devotee named Narayani and his wife, Dina Dayadri, made like a small shamiana for the deities, and Radharasa Bihari were moved there. But Srila Prabhupada promised the deities that you just stand here and I will build you a temple. And so the title comes from Srila Prabhupada's promise to Radharasa Bihari that you just stay here and I will build you a temple, which he did, despite so much opposition and so many obstacles. So I'll begin by reading a description of how the temple was rebuilt. Yeah, so eventually means, Janmashtami, 1972, we moved the deities from that small pandal into a semi-permanent structure. And there was, like you could say a kirtan hall in the front, what we would call like the temple room. But on three sides it was open. And then there was the deity room, and then behind the deity room was a pujari room, and then behind the pujari room was the deity's kitchen. So in maybe May of 1973, the municipal corporation, with support from the police, came to demolish our temple. And it is said that they were bribed, and I certainly can believe it, that they were bribed by Nair. So they came, and they claimed falsely that we didn't have permission for the temple, that the temporary permission we got, which was good for 1 year, had not been renewed, which was false. So I came forward with my file and I showed them that we have that the commissioner has agreed to extend the permission for another year, but they were not interested. They were determined to proceed with their plan, no matter what. So one by one, the devotees rushed forward to stop the demolition crew. And one by one, the devotees were apprehended and put in the paddy wagon, the police wagon. But one person, one devotee, did not rush forward. He was a Gujarati devotee named Manasvi Das, originally Manoj Patel. And Manasvi Das, he was hiding in the bushes watching the whole thing. And he made a phone call to a friend of ours who knew Bal Thackeray, who was the founder of the Shiv Sena political party, which was staunchly Hindu. And Bal Thackeray phoned the municipal commissioner and told him, you know, I hear that you people are demolishing the Hare Krishna temple in Juhu, and you must stop. And the police commissioner, who had been bribed, we are quite sure, said they don't have permission, which wasn't true. And Bal Thackeray said, Mr. Desai, the commissioner's name was M.W. Desai, he said, Mr. Desai, don't forget who this city belongs to, which was sort of a veiled threat. And then the commissioner said, yes, Balasab, yes, Balasab. Then he phoned the key to the site to stop the demolition. Thereafter, we were systematically meeting the municipal councilors who, formed the Bombay Municipal Corporation to persuade them of our case. And we met almost all of them, and they were quite convinced. But at a certain stage, we realized we don't actually need them to give us permission. We already have permission, so we can just rebuild the broken temple. And that is what we decided to do. And so I will read a description of that glorious event or challenge. So somehow Mrs. Nair found out what we were planning to do to rebuild the temple. And the next day, Friday, she went to the High Court with a petition for an injunction to prevent us from rebuilding. It was her property, she argued, and she had not given us permission. But the judge, Justice Nayan, was familiar with our society and activities and appreciative of Prabhupada and our movement. And he said he would consider granting the injunction only after he had heard both sides. Because it was Friday, he pointed out, the end of the week, he would take up the matter on Monday. Just give a temporary injunction for the weekend, and then you can decide on the permanent injunction. Mrs. Nair appealed, but her request was denied. No, Justice Nair responded. Without hearing the other side, I will not pass any judgment. When we heard of Mrs. Nair's petition and the judge's response, we knew we had to take advantage of the opportunity. If the judge ruled against us, we would be prohibited from going ahead with the reconstruction. But once the temple was up, we understood, an injunction, even if it were granted, would be meaningless. The temple would already be in place and no rebuilding would be necessary. We figured we had the weekend until Monday morning to put up the structure. Then the next day, Saturday, I went about trying to arrange construction materials, asbestos sheets, sand, bricks, and cement. And it just so happened that on that Saturday, Mr. P.L. Sethi, who is a real hero of the Juhu story, a very staunch devotee of Srila Prabhupada, his devotion to Srila Prabhupada reminded me of Hanuman's devotion for Lord Ram. So Mr. Sethi was in Juhu with his family to check on his house under construction, not far from the temple, and to enjoy a weekend beach outing. And before returning home, he thought of visiting the temple. When we came, he recalled, we saw that the small shed had been demolished, and the description given to us of the demolition was horrifying. Not only was the temple demolished, but they wanted to take away the deities. Mr. Sethi was in poor health, but he declared, no matter whether laborers are available or not, I will rebuild the temple. And if I have to, I will do the labor work myself. As it turned out, he was able to bring plenty of laborers and also supplies from his own construction sites because he was a building contractor. I got the material from where my work was going on: bricks, sand, cement. And the asbestos sheets for the roof, we got an electric welding machine and a person from a Jopatpati slum who knew welding and welded all the pipes upon which the asbestos sheets would go. In the course of the day, Mrs. Nair, Matre, and Mrs. Nair's solicitor, Bachubai Shah, all came to the site. You can't do this, they shouted, demanding that we stop. Bachubai Shah, the son of Chimanlal Shah, came to serve me with what I presumed to be a notice stopping me from rebuilding the temple and threatening me with consequences if I did. But when I saw him, I ran away as fast as I could. And he came running after me as fast as he could in his suit and tie. The respectable solicitor Bachubai Shah is running after me like a child in a playground, I thought. Where is his dignity? He couldn't catch me. And when I looked back from a safe distance, I saw him, looking frustrated, leave the letter with someone else who just happened to be there, with no proof that I had received it or ever would. Matre, who was the local municipal corporator and who was in cahoots with Nair, also demanded that we halt the construction. No, Mr. Sethi replied. Why should we stop? You can build it up, Matre threatened, but I will come in the night with 50 gundas, hooligans, and break it down. Mr. Sethi turned to his son, who was by his side, and said, Brij Mohan, bring my revolver and my rifle. Then he said to Matre, don't bring 50 gundas, bring 100, bring 200. I have 250 cartridges. You will have to bring at least 251. He had a Kshatriya side, and he was staunch. Quote, they did not count on the amazing heroism and bravery of my personal hero, Mr. P.L. Sethi. Maitahili, who was the head pujari, said later, echoing everyone's admiration. As Brij Mohan Sethi remembered, so, with the revolver in my hand and the rifle in Daddy's hand, we started the work. We could do this not because of something in us, but because of the blessings of Prabhupada. Only with his blessings and mercy could we start the construction. The entire night it was raining cats and dogs. That means like raining very heavily. But we never stopped the work. It went on. As the rain fell, Mr. Sethi recalled how by lifting Govardhan Hill, Lord Krishna had protected the residents of Vrindavan from the devastating rainfall sent by Indra. He was unperturbed. Indra wants to test me, he thought. All right. If you want to come down, you can come down more heavily. But I have the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. I have to rebuild the temple, and I will. So Mr. Sethi and his son, the friends and life members and the laborers stayed up all night to protect and complete the construction. I was there with a gun, Mr. Sethi recounted. We started at 9. At 11, one man came at the road, but I challenged him. If you come inside, I will shoot you. And the man ran away and shouted to some other men, they're ready to fight. Don't go there. It was pouring rain and the lightning was bad. And when the men were putting up the asbestos sheets, they were slipping on the ground. So we brought, this is Mr. Sethi speaking. So we brought so we brought around 50 mats and put 20 men on them, one man supporting another so that there was no slipping. 10 masons worked all night and we completed the walls and the plaster. Sridhar was at the site too, chanting japa in the jeep. When someone asked him why he was there, he joked, so if anybody comes, I can make a quick escape. quote, actually, the whole thing was right in keeping with my nature, he recalled. When there is a good chance to fight for Krishna, I don't run away from it. It was very exciting. I was ready. We stayed up all night, miserable night, but we were waiting for them to come. Mr. Sethi had his gun and I had a knife or some other weapon. And the devotees, like members, masons, and other skilled workers, laborers, and other friends did it. They put it all up in that one night, finishing around 4 a.m, and no one came to disturb the work. Then we had Mangala Arati. Later that morning, we appeared in the High Court and told the judge that the temple had already been rebuilt. What is built, he said to Mrs. Nair. No one can destroy the temple. And yeah, there's a very nice glorification of Mr. Sethi and his Kshatriya spirit by Srila Prabhupada. But because of time constraints, I won't read that. But I will move ahead to the news of Mr. Nair's death. Oh, I see. Okay. One Sunday, as I was walking through the streets in Dobi Talao, South Bombay, briefcase in hand, on my way to meet someone, I happened to stop for a moment by the Metro Cinema and looked at the periodicals on sale on the sidewalk, something I generally never did. Standing on the busy corner, with traffic rushing from all directions, I glanced at the newspaper headlines. Big, black, bold letters jumped out from one front page. Quote, A.B. Nair dead. And directly under the headline was a photo of Mr. Nair. I couldn't believe it. A.B. Nair dead. How could it be? The paper was the Bharat Jyoti, the Sunday edition of the Free Press Journal, where Nair had been the editor. I was jubilant. I felt like dancing in ecstasy. But then I wondered if that was the proper way for a Vaishnava to respond. I'm supposed to be developing saintly qualities, I reflected. Maybe I should be feeling sorry. Still, I could not contain my exultation and I rushed back to our flat in Kolaba to share the news. Bali Mardan, the most senior devotee there, suggested that we call Srila Prabhupada and went out to look for a phone. I decided I should go to Juhu. The devotees there had already heard the news and had been rejoicing and celebrating, chanting and distributing sweets. But I was still uncertain. Was this the proper way for Vaishnavas to behave? When Bali Mardan phoned Auckland to inform Prabhupada of Nair's death, the phone call came during Prabhupada's morning massage just before lunchtime. Shrutakirti was sitting on the floor behind him, massaging his back, with Tusta Krishna and Siddha Sarup nearby. Tusta Krishna took the call, and then Shrutakirti came to the phone. After just a few minutes, Shrutakirti ran back into the room. Srila Prabhupada, he said, that was Bali Mardan on the phone. He wanted to tell you that Mr. Nair is dead. Srila Prabhupada joined his hands together above his head as if in prayer. Oh, thank you, Krishna, he said. I prayed that Krishna would kill him. He caused us so much difficulty. He gave us so much trouble. He gave so much trouble to the devotees. I was praying that Krishna would do something to this demon. And he quoted a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9-14. Tadyachamayan yum asuras chahatastvayadya mode tasadar apiviksha sarpakhatya lokascha nivritim ita prayanti sarve rupam nishingha vibhaya janas marati. Prahlad Maharaj said, even a saintly person becomes pleased when a snake or a scorpion is killed. Nair was a big snake, so it is very good. As Shrutakirti continued his massage, Prabhupada recounted some of the struggle and revealed more of his inner mood. Quote, the deities were installed on the property, he said. Mr. Nair had insulted Krishna by trying to remove him, and that I could not tolerate. Some of my disciples didn't understand. They wondered why their spiritual master was so attached to that piece of property. In truth, we had money. We could have bought property anywhere. We didn't need that piece of property. But Krishna was standing there at Juhu, and therefore I was determined to have it. Even some of my disciples were ready to leave the property, but I promised the deities that I would build them a beautiful temple there. So I think I can end the reading. Of course, there's a lot of nectar, but we covered two, or touched on two important incidents. And now, if any of the devotees have any questions, you can raise your hand and ask. Oh, Janvi Priya has raised her hand. Janvi Priya, can you turn on your camera and unmute yourself? You have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Though the story is actually already sweet, and in your voice, it became actually sweetest. So thank you for narrating it very sweetly, as you are always. Maharaj, my question is that looking at your behavior, looking at your nature and gesture, you're very soft by nature. As Prabhupada always said for you, our Giriraj is very simple. So going through this complicated situation where the gundas are coming and they are fighting with devotees, there is life threat. What inspired you to be there so determined?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it was my conviction that service to the spiritual master is the essence and secret of success in spiritual life. And I knew it was service to Srila Prabhupada. But there was a little exchange that night that we rebuilt the temple, which I skipped over, for the sake of time. But I think it plays into to answering your question very nicely, because it was sort of different from my nature. So when they were doing the reconstruction, I was overseeing the rebuilding. And Tamal Krishna told me, I want you to stay up all night and make sure the work is done. People will be working all night long and gundas may come to attack. I want you to stay up and make sure that the work keeps going and that nothing goes wrong. A few days earlier, Srila Goswami, my first temple president, by whom I was greatly inspired, had passed through Bombay. I appreciated his humble and gentle demeanor, and I wanted to emulate him. When Tamal Krishna told me to stay up all night and oversee the work, I mentioned how I wanted to be like Satsvarupa Maharaj, a simple, humble sadhu. Tamal Krishna looked me straight in the eyes, and with a firm intensity and controlled anger, he responded, your humility will be to stay up all night and make sure this temple gets rebuilt. I thought about it and I had to agree. Where was the humility if I was not ready to surrender to the order or the desire of the spiritual master? To be humble meant to be ready without personal consideration to do whatever the spiritual master wanted, whether or not it conformed to popular conceptions of a humble sadhu. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Haribol. Thank you.
So now we have Prema Manjari Dasi with a question. Please unmute and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I don't have any question, but I want to say my comment. We have started reading your book. We have made a small circle, like we are about 5 to 6 members, and every afternoon, the time like 1 hour, 1.5 hours, we read together on Zoom. And we really enjoy it so much. And we have clearly stated that everyone has to read 2 pages, but nobody will stop. Like, they will read 2 pages, then they're going to third one. Then finally have to say, stop, give others a chance, They get so absorbed. And today when I'm hearing from you again, the same thing, that when you're reading with so many emotions and all, I feel so like I can relate more now, because already we have read some part today. And I mean, I wish we could hear from you only, like the entire book, and all your emotions. It makes it so realistic. And I also hope we can make a movie out of this whole book, such a dramatic everything. I've still not read the whole book. Just I've completed 200 pages. But I'm sure like I'll get more realizations and I can share later. And also Braj Bihari and Shweta Manjari also read every evening on their own. They have different batches for reading. The ladies in the afternoon, the children in the evening. So I wanted Braj Bihari to share, because he's so, every day he comes out with something. He says, I can't believe Guru Maharaj, he did like that and this, that. So I just request Brother Bhai to speak if you know.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to thank you for the wonderful book. And, because we've heard all these pastimes in the past. You narrated them so many times, and we've heard it from other devotees also. But when we heard it in the past, we used to, sort of not get attached to it. Sort of it was not relatable as much because it was always like Prabhupada had a big army of devotees who were as powerful as demigods in some way. Everyone was just so strong and so hardworking and so determined. But now that the book is out, we are seeing the emotions behind all these incidents, and the human side of it is coming out, and it's becoming so much more relatable for us. So thank you so much, because how would we know otherwise? It was just a collection of stories, and the way you stitched it together in that book is just fantastic. I mean, everything about this book is good. The story, the people in it, the cover, everything. It's just a full package of goodness. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our young devotee, Radhika Jajodia, she goes to Srila Prabhupada's quarters in Juhu, and she reads the book out loud to him, to his deity. Yeah.
So now we have a Malachi Dasi with a question.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your divine grace. Guru Maharaj, I have a comment and a question too. I just read this book before I go to take rest. I feel I'm reading Krishna book actually, it's like so this Leela is more captivating for me, seeing how Prabhupada is tackling all the situation and staying calm wherever needed. So actually we wouldn't have known so much details about Srila Prabhupada if you wouldn't have written this book, Maharaj. Thank you so much for all the efforts. I feel every page has a lot of struggle, what you must have gone through, say it health or getting all the details collected and major and minor issues. But then you have done so best for all of us to know Srila Prabhupada in detail. I learned a big lesson actually reading this book. While you're serving your spiritual master or Krishna, actually I sometimes serve my senses. So this is not proper. It's like you have to serve and please Krishna and your Guru Maharaj. So it's a big lesson for me. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, and please accept me. Uh, because you have really, while I'm reading this book, I'm getting more closer to you, and please accept me, Guru Maharaj. And that's what my prayer is at your lotus feet.
Thank you, Malati. That was beautiful. Just for the information of devotees who might not know, Malati is actually an initiated disciple of my god brother, Sridhar Swami Maharaj. Read about 15 minutes ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I have a question related to this actually. This is called a Jew battle actually externally. We are going through many internal battles too. Like my one of the questions about this is how can we get rid of the guilt we have in ourselves if because that guilt, I have heard a lecture like you should not have so much of guilt in you, because that finish us up like more confidence in you, and it kills you from within. So many devotees, I'm sure, must be going through a lot of guilt. So I want to know how can we get rid of it?
Well, guilt is not always bad.
Mm-hmm.
And one way to get rid of the guilt is to stop doing or thinking what you feel guilty about. I mean, but otherwise, if the guilt is sort of an obsession, then I think of what your Guru Maharaj used to say. There is no utility in negativity.
True.
Yeah, but if we feel guilty because our conscience is prodding us because we are doing something wrong, then we should try to find out what we're doing wrong and stop it. Yeah.
But Mara, sometimes you accuse yourself so much, and which is not needed sometimes. But your nature is that you accuse, like you have done wrong, and the relationship will never be revived, and this is not right. And then this really plays on your mind so much that it's difficult to come out of it.
Hmm. Well, I can just say surrender to Krishna more, take shelter of the holy name and Srila Prabhupada's books. Yeah, that's the only recourse.
Yes, Guru. Thank you so much.
Do we have any other questions? We have two hands. We have Chatura Devidasi.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for your sweet lectures on this Juhu temple. This is Chatala Devidas from China. And then I had one small request that could you tell us something more detail about why Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to Dr. Charan Reddy asking for help?
Yes, yes. Dr. V. Channareddy was a good friend of Srila Prabhupada's, and he was the governor of maybe Andhra Pradesh. And Srila Prabhupada, spared no effort in trying to get help for the cause of, getting the land from Mr. Nair and then getting the permission to build the temple. And so, yeah, he regularly means from time to time, he wrote Governor Channareddy to get his help. And a real turning point came when we met the chief minister of Maharashtra, named S.P. Chavan, who later became a central minister in the government. He was a very good man. And he could see what was going on, and he put his foot down. He just didn't tolerate all the trouble that the departments were giving us. And then Prabhupada wrote to Governor Channareddy and told him the good news.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a question from Madana Gopal Das.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances onto that dust of your lotus feet. Maharaj, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Maharaj, just a comment. Like when I'm hearing so many realizations from other devotees, I just thought of adding something from my end also. And well, we are hearing so much from you in multiple sessions about Juhu temple story, and it has been so much in detail. You are telling, though in bits and pieces, but you're trying to tell everything about the struggle, what you all have gone through. So that's really amazing. And I thank you for this book which you have come up with. And it's not so easy. Otherwise, it would have been so difficult for me to understand Prabhupada. And though you are being so soft person, and so this is also an example that when there is true love for your Guru Maharaj, even a soft person can fight for his Guru Maharaj, and his goal. So that is really nice, and it's really I really appreciate that quality of yours, Maharaj. And if someday if I can imbibe those qualities in me from you, that would be really a good blessing, Maharaj. And I'm so grateful to you. I'm also grateful to Prem Manjari Mataji. Like she gifted me this wonderful book. That's the best gift I've received from my mentor, and it's like so amazing. I'm really grateful to all of you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now, Janu hasn't officially raised his hand, but do you have a question or comment, Janu? Oh. All right. Then,
Advaita Hari?
yeah.
So Advaita Hari, please unmute and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my most humble obeisances at the dust of your divine lotus feet. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Guru Maharaj. Wonderful narration of Srila Prabhupada's pastimes. I would actually, present to you we were recently, I've given the service for coordinating for the dispatches that have been made in the Juhu, within Bombay. And I got a very inspiring message from, I happened to have the good fortune of interacting with, approaching His Grace Krishna Chandra Prabhu from Chowpatty.
Who?
Krishna Chandra Prabhu, Mafatlal Prabhu, Rishikesh Mafatlal Prabhu, disciple of Radhanath Maharaj.
Oh, yes, I know Krishna Chandra Prabhu.
So for the pleasure of your divine grace, actually, I would like to mention to you that he took 15 books from the Juhu temple from Hemagiri Prabhu bookstall. And he's mentioning that he knows at least 10 more devotees who would like to take that book, take the I'll Build Your Temple Juhu land book, the Juhu story book. And he had personally messaged to me a very inspiring message that I would like to share with your divine grace.
All right.
Just a moment. I'm just opening my chat. Yeah, his message is all glories to Srila Prabhupada and his dear disciples like Giriraj Maharaj, whose unbelievable sacrifices for this Juhu project have been hidden from the whole world so far, but not anymore. And actually, my wife also has a question for you, Vrinda Priya Leela Dasi, but unfortunately, she is diagnosed with chicken pox. So she is feeling shy to, switch on her camera.
Well, she can speak without the camera.
All right. Okay, she actually is requesting that I only ask that question.
Okay.
Actually, the question she had was that, while, she's been reading the book also, like, I would mention for the pleasure of a divine grace. So she had this question that, while, when the temple was not built and when you all were having the makeshift temple, so she was wondering that what was happening in the other part of the whole Hare Krishna land, like what were the activities you all were doing besides like maintaining the temple? That's her question.
Well, we were, the main program, Srila Prabhupada said the main program for India was making life members, which he devised in part as a way to distribute his books to the more affluent class. So, there were several teams of preachers who would go out every day to make life members. I headed up one team. Sridhar Swami headed up one team. Jagat Purush Prabhu headed up one team. Lokanath Swami headed up one team. And we would go out to make life members. And then other devotees, they would do deity worship, they would cook. And then some devotees would go out on book distribution. So we we had activities. And at one stage, when it seemed hopeless that we would never get the permission, Srila Prabhupada said, all right, if they don't give us the permission, we'll just turn Hare Krishna land into a bus stop. And we'll fill up our buses with books and send out the devotees to distribute books. And they can come back and when they're out and get more books and go out.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
And there was one devotee, a very sweet devotee named Shankadas, who is in Alachua now, I believe. And he was a gardener. And Prabhupada wanted him to grow flowers for the deities and also fruits. At first he wasn't successful. And we'd pass by the garden every morning on Srila Prabhupada's morning walk on the way to Juhu Beach. And he'd point his cane and like, nothing's happening, nothing is happening. Shankadas is just bluffing. He doesn't know what he's doing. But then things started happening. The trees started to bear fruit and the flowers started to come up, and then Prabhupada was pleased. And then every day Shankadas would present Srila Prabhupada a flower from the garden. And he termed himself, he called himself Prabhupada's flower boy. Well, that was also going on. And Prabhupada really liked prasad to be made from fruits and vegetables that we ourselves had grown. Okay, that was a good
We have
question.
a question from Surat Charan Renu Dasi.
That means Charan Renu Dasi from the city of Surat.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for the wonderful narration. I just remembered that few years back we were visiting Bombay for your Vyas Puja, and we were staying at guest house, and next room was Haridas Prabhu's room. So it so happened that I was coming out, and myself, my Prabhu, and Haridas Prabhu also came out of his room, and he said, how you are here? So I said, we have come for Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. So he said, oh, you know who he is? And he said, this pillars and floors of this temple are his bones and blood. So Guru Maharaj, I'm so happy about this book that I come to know more about you. And by your narrations, it becomes so sweet. And I'm really very thankful for giving this book to all of us. It's a wonderful book, and it will tell many things about your struggle, your dedication, and dedication of your God brothers. So much. So thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. That was a nice story. Nice appreciation. Thank you.
You have one question from Nikunja Leela. Nikunja Leela, please unmute and ask your question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Nikunj Leela Devi Dasi from Surat, disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. How are you doing, Maharaj?
I am very fine.
I always have a desire to meet you and see you and take your blessing. It is so nice. Due to this Zoom, I'm able to talk to you today.
Nice.
Maharaj, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for being with Srila Prabhupada and today being with us with Prabhupada. It is so nice to hear from you the construction of Juhu temple. And yes, I had seen about and heard about the Juhu temple from his Bhakti Charu Maharaj video on Srila Prabhupada. And I just wanted to tell you one thing, Maharaj, sorry, it's getting longer. That to me, ISKCON started with Bhagavad Gita. Then I came to know about Srila Prabhupada. And after that, if any disciple I would ever hear about was His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. So thank you once again, Maharaj, for being with us and also bringing with you along Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I would like that to meet my Prabhu, His Padmanabh Gopal Das.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I would love to meet you when you come this time to Mumbai.
I would love to meet you in Mumbai.
Thank you, Maharaj. Please do bless us, Maharaj.
What blessing do you want?
Thank you, and please be with our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jai Pataka Maharaj all the time.
Okay, yes. Hare
Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much.
Haribol. You know, of course, His Holiness Jaipataka Swami Maharaj figures, quite prominently in the book.
Yes, Maharaj.
And he did say something that I included at the end.
Yes, Maharaj, please.
At the end of the book, there's an epilogue. And the epilogue begins, Bombay had been a strategic location in Prabhupada's war against Maya. As Jaipataka Swami later said, quote, "For us, Bombay is a very important place, one of the most important with which Prabhupada was connected. Prabhupada said that Vrindavan was his home, Bombay was his office, and Mayapur was his place of worship. Bombay was the most modernized, greatest financial powerhouse in India. It was India's most westernized city and was home to the Bollywood movie industry. Hence, Prabhupada wanted to establish a temple there with a mission to stop the westernization and preserve the Krishna consciousness. Sometimes he would tell us how his Guru Maharaj had ordered him to preach in the West. Quote, "My Guru didn't specifically order me to preach in India," he said. "So whenever I preached in the West, I was very successful." His idea was to build temples in Vrindavan and Mayapur for his Western devotees to come and visit the holy places. But then he said, how could he stand by and see India going to hell? He was disturbed by how Indians were losing their culture by following the West and becoming degraded in various ways, forgetting their Krishna consciousness. He said that it was his personal mission to preach in India. Brahmananda Prabhu recounted that Prabhupada had told him that the deity Dwarkadish in Los Angeles had personally spoken to him and ordered him, "You have to go back to India and preach there." So that was a very nice explanation by His Holiness Jaipataka Swami Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I would like you to meet my Jagannath, Subhadra, Baldev and God Nitai, who His Holiness Jaipataka Maharaj had met once. Please, Maharaj, would you?
Yes.
Yes, Maharaj, 1 minute.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Jai.
And Maharaj, the inspiration to do all the jewelry and dresses arrives within me through Saran Renu Mataji, Surat, and Radha Charan Prabhu has always been a motivational force in my life, Maharaj.
Good.
And I got to meet even Pranath Prabhu, Nitya Sakhi, and yesterday Vishambar Charandas Prabhu also. They were all being with me, and it is always a happy moment even that is being with you, Maharaj.
We're all one big happy family.
Yes, thank you for Prabhupada giving us such a lovely family.
Yeah. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
So we have a question from one of our students, Shivani.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance at your lotus feet, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have no words to, I feel very insignificant to speak to you also, Maharaj. So Maharaj, actually your kirtan was so sweet. I was thinking like if it could go for eternity. and then your narration was also amazing, Maharaj. Actually, I'm so thankful for this book, Prabhu Maharaj, and I please wish that you bless us all, Maharaj, that we progress in our spiritual life, and I get the shelter of Ratanath Maharaj. Please bless me, Maharaj.
Hi. Beautiful. Yeah. I'm indebted to Her Grace Nagapatni Mataji for teaching this Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita course at VIHE, inviting me to be part of it.
Like I always took pride of being a part of ISKCON, Maharaj, and now I just doubled with the association of stalwarts like you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We still have a question from Radha Charan from Surat.
Guru Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. Our grandchildren, Kaltaru, will like to share some of his realization about when we were translating this book. You want to share some point, please? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
When my grandmother told that when you were in Bombay, Dasbihari temple, there are rats on the ceiling. So you thought that they will fall in your plate, but they didn't fall in your plate, but in Devar Prabhu's.
And
they used to bite so deeply that the blood will come back, and we will not get it to know that there is blood. When we will get up in the morning and we will see them, then we will see there is blood everywhere.
You repeat the tune.
And I repeat the tune of
Very slow.
yours.
Go. Go. Arey Baba, आप छूटे रहे. Arey Baba. I love you.
Hare Krishna.
Guru, I love your tone of kirtan very nicely, and when we do kirtan in the evening, we want to lead the same tone and very slow pace.
Okay. It's Prabhupada's tune.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, very much.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
And one more question from another student, Sweta Singh.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. I am a very new person in the ISKCON scheme of things. Very, very new, I would say. The journey started with the VIHE Bhakti Sadachar course, and it's been really, really wonderful and enlightening for me, listening to all the ISKCON gurus, and I take all the classes, Nagapatni Mataji, Haribol Mataji. It's been really, really wonderful to to get this opportunity in this world today, I would say. And it's really wonderful that this through this online technology Zoom, we are able to have darshans of you, Guru Maharaj, and also to listen to the, I would say, the Guru Vani from all of you. It's a small seed which has just been come to my heart, I would say, and it's growing and growing and growing, and I feel very, very blessed to get this opportunity. Maybe it is just the mercy of you all that somehow I've just started this journey, and I feel really, really very blessed. Though I would say I have so many things to read through and to know about. Even for, I would say, during this session, I got to know, being very frank, about the book of yours. I would want to read that now, and there's so much of literature and about the association with Srila Prabhupada. So it's a new world for me altogether, and I'm liking it, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm telling my family also about it, and they feel very good about it. And they said, okay, you learn and then you tell us what you're learning every day. So it's been a very, very nice journey that I've just taken few steps here. And I seek for your blessings that I really go ahead in my spiritual journey. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
That's wonderful, very enlivening and inspiring. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
And we have a question from Amrita, a student here, also lives here in Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. It's so nice to get to know about your book, and I really feel that when we go to any temple, we just go to see deities and we see beautiful temples, but through your book or through your realizations, we can just understand the struggle behind that beautiful temple. The devotees go through all those struggles. So now when we go to any temple, that we can just see that we should also realize the struggle and the hard work, what you all have done and Prabhupada has done for us to make such a beautiful temple and make us associate with all the devotees. So thank you so much, Maharaj, for your wonderful session, and please bless us so that we can also do something for Prabhupada and for this mission.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, there's also a lot of effort involved in the Vrindavan temple. Yeah. It's good not to take for granted these beautiful temples that Srila Prabhupada arranged for us, especially Mumbai, Vrindavan, and Mayapur. Nice.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
So, do we have any other questions? This is your last chance. Well, maybe not the last chance, but for today, your last chance. Chatura, one more question from Chatura. And then after Chatura.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. And actually, in 2019, I went to Juhu Temple.
Oh.
I was so impressed. It's so wonderful, amazing. Yeah, so I stayed there for about 10 days. And wow. I can see, so many facilities, a full set of facilities. And then and also the deities there, so very beautiful. So I already recommend Chinese devotees, they must visit this Juhu temple. Yeah. So thank you for your wonderful achievement. Yeah. Also, I will go and buy your book and read this carefully. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Radhacharan Prabhu not from Surat, but
Yeah.
from Beijing. He wants to translate the book in Chinese. His wife.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
But if you
Thank
know,
you.
yeah, if you know English, so I think it's good to read in the original if you can. But
Yeah.
for the other Chinese devotees who don't know English, there should be a Chinese edition.
Okay, so would you let me to translate it for you?
I will ask Giriraj Swami.
Yeah.
He's in charge of the BB there.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Thank you for offering.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Maharaj, I don't know if we have the right words to thank you for speaking with us today and spending time sharing your realizations and memories of the Juhu story. Thank you so much. And if you have anything else you'd like to say to us, we just wish for your blessings that we can continue on in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, I wish all of you all success in Krishna consciousness by Srila Prabhupada's grace. And yeah, keep reading about Srila Prabhupada, speaking about Srila Prabhupada, and serving Srila Prabhupada and his mission. Yeah, we are so blessed by Srila Prabhupada's mercy. And yeah, we shouldn't take that for granted, of course, and we should appreciate every moment we have in Krishna consciousness and utilize every moment in the best way in Krishna consciousness.
Good advice. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for
Hare Krishna, Giriraj Maharaj, this is Prashanta Devidasi speaking here.
Oh.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj. I was, like everyone else, very drinking the nectar. You are such it's fantastic to have a historian in our ISKCON movement. It's so divine to hear so many details of the Juhu struggle, and I know you know many more stories, not just about Juhu, but this was your particular interest to write this book. I want to thank you, Maharaj, for agreeing to come and speak at the VIHE. As you see, we have introduced this Lilamrita class. It's about 3 years already that we've been running this class. It was very much my desire because so that the new devotees, as you see, someone was saying, when we go, the new devotees go to the temple, they don't know what's behind how these temples have been built and how this movement has been established. So it was so much my desire to give this background to the devotees, and with the help of Nagapatni Devidasi, she's leading that effort, and I see the devotees transforming and understanding so much more their connection with Srila Prabhupada and with everything that ISKCON has to offer. So, and we need to have persons like you to come, and everything becomes so much real, like the pages of the Lilamrita suddenly become like alive, and we actually see the actors, and that is so wonderful. So I'm sure the kind of nishtha or faith and determination that all of you have had to help Srila Prabhupada establish a movement hopefully our desire is that by hearing of all these stories, the new devotees will also get that determination to serve and that desire to work hard and to sacrifice for the Sankirtan movement. So thank you so much, Maharaj, and we hope to have more of you anytime. We are all ready. So whenever you would like, you are most welcome to speak and give your association.
We can try to arrange. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So this concludes our class for today. We might end if you'd like to just unmute to end and say your pranams or goodbyes to Maharaj. That would be nice.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Krishna Maharaj,
Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much.
Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna Das Bihari ki jai, Maharaj ki jai bol.
What did he say?
So I temporarily muted everyone. It was very kind of Nagapatni Mataji to make me a co-host because I wanted to suggest that we end the meeting by offering Vaishnav Pranam. And so now I'll unmute you all again and we can offer Vaishnav Pranam.
Vancha kalpataru.
Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, ki jai. Guru Maharaj apne charan mein koti pranam.
You're on mute, Maharaj.
All right, well, thank you. This was a very enlivening and exhilarating meeting, speaking about Srila Prabhupada and Radharasa Bihari. And I should add that although the focus of the book is certainly Juhu, but the book pretty much covers all the events and my interactions with Srila Prabhupada from the time he came to Juhu, I mean, the time we got Juhu. And so that includes the Maha Kumbh Mela in Allahabad in 1977. And well, just at the end of 76, beginning of 77. And also his last days in Vrindavan and Lokanath Swami's coming from his bullock cart Sankirtan and different pastimes in Srila Prabhupada's last weeks that were, I believe, engineered by him to draw out our love for him, which he did successfully. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
hard to leave this association.
Yes.
I don't think I have the strength to do it myself.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.